through the presentation of the supporters player of the year and the supporters runner-up player of the year.
Steve, a game I think overall we deserve to win. What did you learn from that, particularly as you blooded, if you like, some of our younger players in it?
What did I learn? Probably not a lot, Jim, really, because I think that I learned the main thing last week. Watched the Youth Cup game on Thursday, and the boys done well. They was unlucky. Callum was always going to play today. He's been in the squad the last 2 weeks. He's always going to play today. So always, I thought he'd done tremendous. I thought he'd done well. Liam Smith done well again. Tried to bring Tommy Chapman in, but he works 6 days a week, so he couldn't come in. Jack Fenton, centre midfielder. He's got problems with his shins. Wanted him to come in and be part of it and get a run out. Jack Bray, another one that's emerging from that youth section, but he's not registered with us. So there was a couple more what I wanted to come in and just feed on towards the end. Callum and Liam were always going to start today after what happened last week. And the other boys, I wanted to maybe get 15, 20. Sid come in today. I haven't seen Sid at training for God knows how long. I don't know what he's up to, but I called him on Thursday and said, is it alright if you play for me? You know, because I'm at the minute, you know, the young lads, they're doing very well, but they've got to want it a bit more. And he showed what he can do when he come on, even though he's in an orthodox position. He had a couple of chances. We know what he can do, but it's whether he wants to do it with Tonbridge Angels or whether he wants to go and do something else. He went on trial at Charlton, which I knew nothing about, and that's why we pulled him back, or Whiteleaf released him because he weren't allowed to play for them while he was there. I knew nothing about that. So that's where these young kids want to be. You can see Liam Smith is getting a regular start now, still learning. Callum didn't put a foot wrong today, another one that's still learning. And to be fair, he learned from his Needham Market game. You know, he never looked like he was getting a booking today, never looked like he was going to get in trouble. I thought he'd done very, very well. And it's if these young ones want to be patient and give it a go. And I could tell them all day long. Franco sent me a text the other day. Tonbridge is the best place he's been at. He learnt a lot, but he decided he wanted to go and play men's football and he made a mistake. You know, so we do things right with the youngsters. It's just whether they believe in us, in what we're doing. But that's down to them. That's down to them and their parents to see what they want. But there's a lot of talent in that youth side. And to be fair, Jay brought them through, and Jay's done a lot with them and made them successful. And it's the next step for them now, and I want to give them that next step if they want to be patient.
I think we were both at the cup final on Thursday,
yeah.
And what was your assessment of that? I mean, I think the suspension's probably turned it.
Yeah, it hurt. You know, young Mitch in goal, the young lad in goal done well, but Mitch, you know, he's been around Stuart for quite a while this season now. Stuart helping him, and Sid obviously up front. You know, he's a goal scorer. So. They did miss them players, but then if you go and get 16 bookings, you don't deserve to play, and you're letting your teammates down. So, but that's a learning curve for them. You know, Mitch was unlucky. I didn't see the game, but they're sending off. I know we're going off on a bit about the youth team rather than the first team, but they could be the future. I'm not saying every one of them's going to play and everyone's going to be in the squad, but if they learn and we can help them and get them experience and then feed them into the first team, they've only got to look at Liam. You know, and see where he's at. And Callum now, again, he'll be the next one that if he wants to stay and progress with us, we can help him and move him out on loan and stuff and bring him back in when it's right. But again, like I say, I can't tell them what to do. I can only advise them, and if they want to take that advice, great. If they don't, then they go with our blessing. But there's some good talented boys in there. And yeah, so like I say, we'll look to work with them next year as well, and nurture them and push them on.
I'm bound to ask you this question now that perhaps both our emotions and the supporters' emotions have calmed down a little bit after bank holiday. We've had a week to kind of recover and assess things. You know, what is your overall view of the season? I mean, we understand we missed the playoffs actually by a point because of our win today.
Yeah, by a point, and that point last week that we could have got and should have got if we'd pushed that extra mile. Forget all the other games. When it comes to the nitty gritty, that's when you've got to stand up and be counted. And that's what I said, answering your question earlier. I learned more last week than I ever will this week. Do you know? So this week was to look at some of the young boys and just see how players performed. But I learned all I needed to learn through the whole season in 90 minutes last week.
So that almost...
Listen, people are saying Met Police away conceded a goal and last minute, and Merstrom here last minute. That doesn't mean nothing, because you've still got a chance, and we threw that chance away at Folkestone last week. So
that game at Folkestone was almost, in microscopic terms, our season, in a sense.
Well, we said we had to win 3 games.
Yeah.
We've won 2 out of 3. You can't go back over the 20th, 25th, 26th, 27th game. That's gone. What you can do is prepare what's in front of you. And we had 3 winnable games. That's no disrespect to anybody else. We've been up and around the top 5 all season, and then 3 games we should have won, because they was all down. Worthing obviously mid-table, had a good first season. You know, Gary will get him going well next year, because he'll have his own ideas and stuff, get his own players. Folkestone just wanted it more than us, and if you've got a chance for playoffs, you know, they're out of relegation. They're not relegated, and that's because of last week, not because of this week. That's because of last week. You know, and they wanted it last week. And if we'd wanted it another 10, 15, 20%, we'd have got that point. We might have got 3, but we didn't deserve nothing. So our season came down to 1 game. Forget everything else about last minute goals. 1 game, and we weren't good enough, or we weren't strong enough as individuals to stand up to the plate and be counted.
Now, looking at the club as a whole, we know we haven't got an outstanding budget, and I guess your challenge for next season, I'm sure, you've signed a contract, your challenge for next season will be how, from a modest budget, can you build a team that you genuinely believe, as you tried to do this term, genuinely believe can make a crack at the playoffs, or even better?
Yeah.
That's presumably what you've got to do.
Definitely, it's going to be hard. It'll be interesting to see who goes out the playoffs. Haven't have gone down. That's a big budget. We're still going to have 2 or 3, maybe 4 that are going to be there, and we're going to be in and around maybe, I would personally say, between 6 and 10 on the budget wise. Our problem this year is people will say, yeah, but you've got a big squad and all that. The board and the chairman have gone bent over backwards because they've given me extra funds. However they found it, I don't know, but they've managed to find it to bring players in to replace injured players. You know, and it's not the king's ransom, but it has helped. You know, otherwise we would have been playing the youth team more than not. I'm not saying they couldn't cope with it, but it ain't right for them to be thrown in game after game after game. So the board have done tremendous this year, and I feel that myself, and people say you haven't, myself and the players have thrown that back in their face. You know, because when players are out injured, like the goalkeeper, they've given me funds to go and get Johnny. Yeah, but bearing in mind these are loan players, we're not paying all their wages. You know, we've had to grovel a little bit to get the best deal we can, but we brought them in, and that's testament to the board and the chairman and the backing they give me. I've got to do exactly what I've done in year 1, in year 2 and year 3 in terms of the budget. It's given to me. I don't go over the top of it unless, like I say, this season, the first 2 years didn't, this season we've had to, and they back me. But I've got that budget. I've got to speak to Malcolm and Steve in a minute about certain things, and I'll do the same thing again. I go out and just try and identify players that are going to get us to a position we need to. And like I say, I've got a left back that's agreed and coming in. That's 1 already. I've had 3 people phone me up in the week, even before the season's finished, and I've told them, I'm not going to speak to you. When the season finishes, call me back, and then I'll speak to you, because it's not right me speaking to other players when their managers are relying on them. I wouldn't like it done to me. It's been done to me. So I've told them, no, phone me after the season's finished, and then we'll talk. So that's where I'm at with that. We're working hard. We're going to watch players. You know, we're going to go and watch playoff games and see if there's any talent out there. Because if teams don't go up from the south, there might be a little gem in there that wants to come and play at the Premier level. But again, it's one of those. It's just head down, hard work. Got to sort pre-season out. You know. Get the games sorted, get the training regime sorted, and we go again. But it's going to take a while to get over that, Jim. 2 weeks, 3 weeks maybe for me, because...
Have a holiday.
Love to. It's difficult. But no, we work hard, me, Barry, Justin, Stuart, you know, and we'll try and get the right people in as we thought we did this year. And it just hasn't worked. I'm not saying that they're bad people, but...
Well, it hasn't worked by 1 point, you could argue.
Yeah, it hasn't worked.
And I know you'll say a miss is as good as a mile, but...
No, it hasn't worked, Jim. We haven't been good enough. You know, but I do put it down to last week. You've been given 3 cup finals to win, and we've won 2 of them. Fell short on the middle one. That's the hurtful side of this season. anything else.
On a slightly, or if we can finish on a slightly lighter note,
Okay.
you have
Is there one? Is
during
there
our
one?
interviews, I think so. Perhaps. Well, I think it's an encouraging note.
Go on.
It is a lighter note. You've never been slow in commenting about referees.
Yeah.
What was it like refereeing this afternoon?
You know what? That was a privilege for me to do that. You know, I brought a tear to my eye. I thought it was, and those people out there playing, they don't need my sympathy and things like that. You know, but just to see them out there enjoying it, scoring goals, just embracing each other after, and that's rivalry as well. Maidstone, Tonbridge, rivalry after. It was good. It was good. I thought I was a better referee than Roger, but he might disagree. But no, it was great to do. You know, they're very friendly, all of them. You know, enjoyed giving them their medals. It was a touching finish to, they say, what's been a bit of a letdown season, because I want to be successful, and that just brought a smile to my face, and testament to all of them for going out there and playing brilliant.
Definitely. Well, it is the end of another season. I think I'm sure I speak on behalf of all the supporters. How many people come up to me and say, you know, thank you very much, Jim, for the interviews, and I always reply, it's not me, it's Steve. He's the guy. He's the guy who's honest and prepared to. Prepared to be completely upfront, and the supporters out there, they really do appreciate it.
Yeah, but then if you're not going to the away games, because Trev can't make them all, Trev's at all the home games, you know, and if you two weren't doing this now, taking time out after a game to interview me, these other supporters couldn't get the insight. So it is about me doing the interviews and being brave to come out and do it, but more about you two for actually standing there, asking the questions, Trev videoing, you know, so you've got to take some credit as well. You know, I think the three of us work as a good team. I think we get the point out there, the questions are right, the videoing's very good, Trev. A little smile behind the camera there. But so, no, I thank you two as well, you know, and all the volunteers and that do everything, you know, and it's great, it's a great club to work for. But like I say, without yourselves, we couldn't put these interviews together. So thank you very much for that.
We're very pleased you're staying next season, believe me, all of us.
Well, we'll give it a go.
And thanks very much for everything.
Thank you, Jim. Cheers. Thanks.